On today's show, Dyson Daniels brings home some hardware to the Hawks, winning Most Improved Player. We'll get into all of what transpired there, the voting, the reactions, his own comments, and more. All of it's coming up right now.
You are Locked On Hawks, your daily Atlanta Hawks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 1965 of the Locked On Hawks podcast. I am your host, Rowland, coming to you on a Wednesday evening here at the tail end of April. And today's podcast is brought to you by the folks at the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox with no console needed. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. I also want to encourage you at the top of the show, as I always do, to make us your first listen each and every day here at Locked On Hawks. Check us out and subscribe to this podcast anywhere you find your podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, like this video as you're watching it, and also please check us out on audio platforms like Apple, Spotify, Overcast, etc. And today's podcast is going to be kind of an impromptu one. I was going to do a show probably tonight, but definitely tomorrow. Instead, we're going for sure right now because the Hawks have an award winner, and it's Dyson Daniels. We're getting to Dyson winning the Most Improved Player, plus Zaccharie Risacher coming up pretty close to winning Rookie of the Year, finishing second earlier this week. And then at the end of the podcast, Dyson Daniels talked to the media for 15-ish minutes on Wednesday evening, and I had that entire interview, back and forth, questions, answers, and an interesting insight from Dyson at the end of the show. But of course, the headliner is Dyson is the Most Improved Player Award winner for the Hawks. The first time since Alan Henderson in the late 90s, almost 30 years ago, that the Hawks have actually had this kind of award winner. And I said multiple times over the last few weeks and months, honestly, that Dyson winning Most Improved Player was probably the most likely of the awards for the Hawks to actually garner. They had other candidates. Obviously, Dyson himself was second in Defensive Player of the Year last week. Risacher was a candidate for Rookie of the Year all the way to the end, but Dyson made a pretty late charge and honestly won by a pretty decent margin in the end. He had 332 total voting points, and Ivica Zubac finished second with 186. So a pretty big gap there. Dyson also was on 84 of the 100 ballots. That's easily the most of anybody that was involved. And he had 44 first place votes. That was the most by far as well. Most Improved Player is always a little bit wonky. Like, it's not the consensus-y award that sometimes MVP is, Defensive Player of the Year is, Rookie of the Year often is. Like, it's usually pretty split because it's a very interesting criteria. It's like kind of each their own in some respects. It's why there's hardly ever blowouts in this one. But Dyson obviously improved quite a bit, had a pretty logical and, to me, obvious case for the award. Doesn't mean that he absolutely had to win it. There were other deserving candidates as well, but I thought it was appropriate that he did. And certainly he had a heck of a season in his third year in the NBA in the first year in Atlanta. Ended up averaging 14 points a game, about 6 rebounds per game, which is an underrated part of his game. He's an excellent rebounder for a guard. About 4.5 assists per game, not a small thing for a secondary player. In addition to being, of course, the first player in 3 decades to average 3 steals per game in the NBA, and he actually has the modern era record now for deflections in the season. First guy in a long time to have all these total numbers. It was a ridiculous defensive season for Dyson. We all know that by now. I won't relitigate it all on this podcast, but suffice to say, he is to me at least, deserving of first-team all-defensive performance. And when you're playing most of the year at age 21 at a guard spot, that's a pretty lofty place to be, and that's where he certainly earned himself into this conversation. And also, but on the defense, obviously the scoring is pretty impressive. 14 points a game. That's like the fourth option a lot of times. But Hawks PR had this stat that I wanted to pass along to you. Dyson is the third player since 1974. So that's 5 decades to improve by at least 8 points per game, at least 2 rebounds per game, at least 1.5 assists per game, and at least 1.5 steals per game from 1 year to the next. So basically doing everything notably better 1 year to the next, the third player in 50 years to have those benchmarks. Obviously, they're kind of arbitrary endpoints, but it was not just the defense. The defense is what got Dyson noticed this year, the steals nationally, I would say. But again, not many guys in a secondary role end up averaging 14, 6, and 4.5 assists per game. And yeah, obviously, Dyson's got work to do still. And he acknowledged that as you'll hear later on the podcast when I play you the audio/video of Dyson talking to the media. He knows he's got to be a better shooter in the future. But his shooting improved quite a bit. He shot 34% from 3 this year. He was a real threat at times as an offensive player, penetrating. Like, he's not a zero on offense at all. You can't fake 14 points a game over a large sample size. The passing is pretty solid, and then the defense is spectacular. So, not much to add. Obviously, Dyson is deserving, in my opinion. I think it was encouraging. It's nice to have the Hawks be able to celebrate an award winner for the first time in a long time. Honestly, they do not have a lot of individual awards hardware for the Hawks in recent years, honestly. So it's a interesting, cool thing there. Second time in Hawks history that player has won this award, and Dyson was great as always. You'll hear in just a few minutes. in between, Zaccharie Risacher finished second in the voting for Rookie of the Year on Tuesday evening. I did tweet this, but I was going to do a podcast if Risacher won, but he didn't. So I let the two-parter that dropped the day before kind of breathe a little bit for an extra day. But I was not surprised at all by the end that Zach did not win. I've been saying for a while I didn't think he was going to win, but that is different than whether he should have won or not. Honestly, I think I don't have a vote. I am a straw poll voter in some places, but I don't have an official vote. I think I would have voted for Zach, but it would have been close. So I was not outraged at all. I know Hawks fans, some of them were about Zach not winning. I am not bothered by that at all. What I am bothered by, and I think it's pretty silly, is the margin. Stephon Castle had a good rookie season, totally fine winner in my opinion, but him being like a runaway winner margin-wise and perception-wise is the whole time like he was just going to win, it seemed like, and that seemed kind of crazy to me. If you align the stats, both basic stats, standard box score stats, advanced stats, all those things, and just efficiency stats, and line them up, it's pretty even between Risacher and Castle, and I don't really get the margin. So the whole segment about this already, I won't do it all again, but there's just no way to get to a landslide for me, and the voting was 92 first-place votes for Castle. That kind of blew my mind. I don't understand it at all. But anyway, people pointed this out before. It seemed like there's just a narrative crystallized for Castle early in the year. It just kind of never stopped being the case. And then late in the year, he kind of got all he could eat offensively because Wemby went out and they were kind of not tanking, but they were not trying to win necessarily. So he got a lot of opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, good rookie season. I like Stephon Castle, but I thought it was a crazy margin. But anyway, Risacher had a heck of a year, honestly. He started slow with the shooting, as we talked about a lot during the year. It's really the only thing you can really nitpick for a 19-year-old rookie forward. Finished near the top of the class in all kinds of categories, played 75 games on a situation where he was not gifted minutes. Like he was playing rotation minutes on a pretty good team all year long. He averaged 12.6 points per game. Had the highest scoring of any rookie, had the most 30-point games of any rookie, like all kinds of accolades that went to Zach. And he was just genuinely efficient for the second half of the season. And importantly, it's not a half-season award. If the season for Zach started, not even like in January, if it started in December, he would have, in my mind, been a pretty comfortable winner. It's that he couldn't make a shot for the first 6 weeks, basically. He still, in my mind, again, would have gotten my vote narrowly, but it would not have been narrow if the season had started a little bit later, if he shot a little bit better early on. And it all counts, to be fair. He got backed up in January, and then he came back and had 63% true shooting in the final 35 games as a 19-year-old rookie. Pretty impressive. Solid efficiency for the season. Played competent, mature defense all year long, helped the team win. So, yeah, I'm not like overly bothered by Risacher not winning Rookie of the Year. Voting for Castle was totally fine, in my opinion. I mean, that may be a hot take for Hawks fans, but I'm not bothered by it. My big thing was I don't understand the blowout margin, but it was close. I thought Zach had a really, really good Rookie of the Year campaign and really just general first season in the league. At some point later on this summer, I will do a deeper dive, like player capsule breakdown of Risacher and of Dyson, honestly. But for now, a fun week of awards. Obviously, would have been better if Zach won for Hawks fans, but Dyson winning is a lot of fun. And in a minute, Dyson, I thought was really interesting in his post-award comments. He's really awesome to talk to all the time. He's, for a 22, 23-year-old kid, like he's very mature in the way he speaks and thinks about the game and is candid as well. So I'll share all of that in full in a second. That includes what he wants to improve on next year, what he wants to accomplish in the future, his opportunities in Atlanta, what that meant to him, the way that they kind of bought into him right away, and much, much more. After work for our sponsors, that'll be the rest of the podcast. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the show anywhere you find your podcasts. Tell your friends as well. And you'll hear the full question and answer session from Dyson and the Atlanta media in just one moment. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices, no console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign in to your Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. You can dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty, and you can do it as easily as you stream your favorite shows. You probably sometimes game when you're not in front of your main setup, and whether it's in a hotel stay or a family visit or something else in the house, whatever your situation might happen to be. If you do that, Fire TV Stick 4K makes it possible to keep playing from almost anywhere. A Fire TV Stick 4K makes it really possible to play from anywhere, and also is more affordable and easier to travel with, which allows you to take your games anywhere you plug in. If you ever want to try your Xbox games without actually having a big upfront investment in a console, Fire TV Stick 4K can be a low-pressure way to start exploring. And with Fire TV Stick 4K, everything is also in one place from Netflix to YouTube and beyond. That brings a ton of convenience, and the possibilities are endless. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen.
Hey Dyson, congrats on most improved. I just want to ask, over the course of this season, like, what are you most proud of that you improved from previous seasons to this one?
Nah, thank you. I think this year I'm just happy that I got into a position where, like, I kind of, earn my respect from, my opponents, my teammates, my coaches. Like, I feel like this year I just came in with a different mindset, really willing to do whatever it takes to, stamp my foot in this league. And I always knew I had the capabilities of doing it. It was just about, going out there, being confident in myself. And credit to my coaches, my teammates. They wanted me to go out there, be myself. Coach Q was great, and putting me in positions to succeed. So I'm just happy that I kind of got a fresh start here in Atlanta and kind of made the most of it. But I still feel like there's a lot more improvement in me, and I said this on the media before. I feel like that I can win another one of these awards.
We'll go to Jamila Johnson.
Hey Dyson, congratulations. I wanted to ask you earlier this month, I don't know if you remember, but I asked you your opinion about the Most Improved Player Award, and you said it was if there's an award that you probably think that you deserve the most, it might be that one. And now that you've won it, I just wanted to know, at the time, you sounded pretty confident, you sounded cautious, but also pretty confident. So just wondering when you kind of knew or you figured you kind of had it as a lock.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a humble guy, and I don't like to, go at anyone or anything. But yeah, I knew that I deserve this award the most. I feel like I improved the most this year, and I feel like my first 2 years, I couldn't really do any worse. So it was only improving from there. So I think for me, just coming into Atlanta this year and getting the role that I got given, really, gave me confidence, drove me to be a better player. And, I put in a lot of work. I put in a lot of work over that summer, during the Olympics and stuff like that. So, yeah, I felt like I was very deserving of this award. And I didn't know until they said my name. It's not like the draft, they call you, a minute before you get drafted. So I didn't know until they said my name, but I definitely felt like I deserved it. So it was definitely some reward for effort.
Brandon Harper.
Hey, Dyson, once again, congrats on winning the award. Just to kind of piggyback on what Caleb was saying when you start talking about, just improving your game. Obviously, as a pro, you want to take your game to the next level each and every season. So when we get into the specifics of your game, what is it specifically that you'll be focusing on in the off season that you can get better at going into next season?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious one is shooting, just being able to become a more consistent shooter, being able to shoot off the dribble, being able to, come off pin downs and make catch and shoot shots. The league's, trending so like towards, everyone having to be able to shoot, to be out there on the floor. So for me, that's a big one, the free throw line. But I think it's the offensive end. It's getting more wiggle to my game, being able to break my defender down, have different counter moves and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the defensive end I'm always going to work on, and that's what I pride myself on. But I think having a little more wiggle to my offensive game, being able to shoot off the dribble, get counters. I use my spin move a lot this year, where maybe it's turn it into a fake spin and then go back, or hesitation into a step back, something like that. I think just being able to be that offensive player that play people. I'm not getting the worst defender on the team. I'm having to be guarded by the second best defender on the team.
Lee Ellis.
Hey Dice, congrats, man! Fantastic season. It was really fun watching you flourish this year at both ends of the floor. I remember before the season, you wanted to set yourself a goal of getting to that 20-point barrier. You did it 12 times. Was there one game that really stood out for me. I think that one in Boston where you came back, you had your career high 28 was one that really showed that you did have so much more to your offensive game. But was there one in particular that gave you the belief that you can be, as an effective scorer as you were on the defensive end?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think it was the preseason games. Coming in there, I just felt more comfortable out there with the ball in my hand. Playing in my role, and I felt like I could go out there and have a really big impact. And for like just from my second year to my third year, that those preseason games really what made me feel comfortable. And I would say the regular season game was that Boston one where I came in and then Trey was out for that game, and we were able to come up with a big win, and I was able to have a big game there. And doing against the best is that's when you really gain confidence in yourself. And I had that confidence coming in, but that's what really made me say like, yeah, I know what I can do this year. I know the impact that I can have. And that was the game that I found myself, and found really where I can what I can do to help this team.
Charles Odom.
You guys finished the season for the most part with a very young lineup around Trey, and you could say that some others, in addition to you, had their best moments in the second half, including Zach Onyeka. When you guys have Jalen next year, do you see what growth coming from this time that you guys had together in the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think we have a really good team, and I think this team's being built really well for the future. So hopefully we can keep this core group of guys together. Obviously Jalen going down hurt us a lot, but we got big wings. Obviously, Zach took a big jump this year. I feel like O took a big jump. Guys like Veet took a big jump. Mo Gay took a big jump. Like these guys, I feel like can really have an impact on the NBA game. And I like the team. I like how it's built. And obviously being surrounded by Trey, who's one of the best offensive players in the league, we're always going to be a good offensive team. It's about dialing in on the defensive end and getting it done there. But I think we really showed growth this year, and obviously we didn't get to where we wanted, nowhere close. But we can definitely make some noise next year, and I'm looking forward to it.
Brad.
Hey, Dyson, there's always a lot of discussion around this award about like opportunity versus improvement, and like having to get the opportunity to play more minutes, for example, to have the numbers follow. You mentioned earlier, that you weren't happy, I guess, with the first 2 years in New Orleans. How do you kind of balance that with like obviously the opportunity that the Hawks gave you, but also your own personal improvement, and how that led to this?
I mean, I feel like in New Orleans there was opportunity there as well. I just didn't take it. There was games I was playing 35 plus minutes in New Orleans, and I wasn't able to go out there and have the impact that I needed to really earn my minutes every night. And the second year, when it comes to playoffs, I was out of the rotation. I wasn't playing, and I think that's what really drove me. That like it's either now or never. I could be out the league next year if I don't perform, or I could go out there and make a statement. And I think obviously getting more opportunity here in Atlanta, I was able to fill that role even better. But I say this all the time. Like I feel like if I got the opportunity in New Orleans, I would have done the same thing. It was just more of a mindset thing rather than anything. But here I was put in a position to succeed, by my coaches, my teammates trusted me, and I was just able to go out there and make it work and figure it out.
Jamila.
Hey Dyson, I know it's early, but has anybody contacted you? Has your phone been blowing up? I know you talked to the guys on NBA on TNT, but I'm wondering if you've been able to talk to anybody else or been congratulated yet. How do you plan on
I have.
celebrating yourself?
Yeah, I haven't actually talked to anyone yet, but my phone keeps buzzing every second, so I'm gonna have to spend all day getting back to people. But no, obviously, getting this award is special, and that's what's gonna come with it. But I think it just shows everyone that cares about me. I've got old teammates texting me, old friends, people that I care about. So it's cool, and it means a lot. But no, I haven't checked my phone yet. So.
And do you plan on celebrating at all, or is it kind of like you're happy about it, but you don't really want to make too big of a deal out of it?
Yeah, I'll celebrate with my family. We'll go get breakfast or something. They all sitting over there. But no, I mean, it's the off season now, so I'm just going to enjoy myself, how I would. But obviously, this is, like I said, some reward for my improvement or my reward for effort. And, I think, my friends will probably want to celebrate, but we'll go do something. In Australia, they got some good beers out here, so we'll go have a few.
Good. Thanks, Dyson.
Deshaun?
Congrats first on the award, Dyson. Is there any scheme, system, roster, coach, anything like that that kind of benefited you in terms of, giving you the comfortability and the ability to be able to win such award? Forgive me for the two-part question, but that being my first one.
Yeah, I think this whole year, the scheme that Coach Q put in, the playing system, getting up and down fast, playing in transition a lot, getting the ball out of the net and just pushing it, not having to, sit in the corner all the time and have a play run, for 20 seconds of the shot clock. I think that benefited me, being able to play fast. Guys like Trey finding me out in transition, being able to, get play in the guard to guard pick and roll a lot. So Coach Q definitely benefited. I benefited off him this year, and a lot of the assistant coaches as well. Just coming in, giving me little tips and stuff. Where to be, when to cut and stuff like that. But I think I have a good feel for the game, and when you're playing with guys like Trey, Jalen, these guys that know how to play the game and have good feel, it's just going to click, and it's going to make everyone's job easier.
And I know that it might be a little bit of a premature ask, but is there maybe any other awards that you kind of have, want to target for your future? Any other ones that you want to achieve in the short term for your career?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to be an all-star one day. That's a big one, and that defensive player of the year, I was one off. So hopefully we can take that step further next year. But those are definitely two that I want to do. But the awards I want is I want to be a championship player. I want to have a ring one day. So building towards that is the most important thing.
Thanks, Dice.
Zaccharie?
Congratulations again, Dyson, on winning the most improved player. But I guess my question to you would just be just thinking about just this major award. What would you say to just the younger players and maybe the fans that are going along with this journey with you in Atlanta? What is your message?
I just want to say thank you and grateful, especially, I feel like I got a lot more media attention this year. And, that's a big part of it, going into these awards and stuff like that. And, my fans and stuff like that, I appreciate it. The support I got in Atlanta. I definitely felt it, always out there on the floor, seeing my jerseys being worn, people wanting to stop sign, hearing my name being yelled from the crowd. The love in Atlanta I got was special. So the fans, the media, whoever it was, I felt the love this year, and it was a lot of fun playing in Atlanta.
Kevin Chouinard?
Dyson, when you did media day back in October, you said something to the effect of, "I have a big goal. My goal is to make an all defense team." When you look back at this season on an individual level, do you feel like you sort of met your expectations? Did it blow your mind and exceed expectations? How would you put back this season and compare it to maybe with what your vision was back in October when you said that?
Yeah, I think I would say this year I met expectations. I didn't exceed them, but I definitely met them. I think there's still a step I can take on the defensive end. I can be that that pest that picks up full court every game, and obviously being that help defender. Being able to come up, wall up, block shots and stuff like that with my size. But obviously I think I achieved a lot of my goals on that end of the floor this year, and I don't know when the defensive teams get named, but hopefully being that first team, and I would have ticked that one off. But I definitely, I met my expectations this year, and I have, I have a lot more in me on that end of the floor. So the bar is going to be set higher, going into next year.
Christos?
Hey, Dyson, hope you're doing well. Congrats, first of all. For you, in such a demanding league like the NBA, you established yourself as one of the best defenders in this league. So what kind of statement for you was your all season long effort winning the most improved player award, and also what's the next step for you?
Yeah, I think you know, just being able to have the respect on that defensive end of the floor and get the respect from opponents. You know, I found this year that a lot of teams would try, keep me out of the action and put me in the corner just so I wasn't able to have an impact there. And the most improved player, that was a goal of mine coming into this year. But what's next for me is next year we got to look into next year what we can be better at as a team. Where I can have more of an impact. And like I said, I feel like I could be most improved player again. I have that much more in me and a bigger leap to take. And, I'm just looking forward to, getting back to work with the guys. Because, I think a healthy Atlanta Hawks team is a team that can be really dangerous.
Caleb?
Hey Dyson, I don't want to take away from your moments for sure, but I just wanted to ask briefly, since we last talked to you, the Hawks made a pretty big change in the front office. Have you been in communication with them since that, or is that something that you plan to do in the future?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I heard about the news, and it's something that I don't have a say in or I'm not involved in as much. But obviously, Landry, he brought me here. He gave me this opportunity, so we had a really good connection, really good relationship, and credit to him. I feel like he's built a really good roster, and obviously, Onzi being named the GM now, he's a guy that I also have a really good connection with, and I've had some really good chats with. So I'm sure he's gonna pick it up and put it in the right place. And yeah, like I said, they're both great guys, and that's the business we live in. We don't get to have any say in those decisions, but I'm just looking forward to next year and going out there and playing.
Brandon?
Hey, Dyson, we know that at times, you see different eras of the NBA, and people talk about nowadays how defense can be a lost art, amongst many NBA players, and we know that defense is an effort thing. It's a want to type of thing, and you see so many kids coming up through college, whether it be the AAU circuit or whatever. When it comes to you who focuses so much on defense, obviously say you want to work on the offensive side of the ball too and continue to improve. But what would be your message to a lot of guys who, maybe coming up throughout the ranks who just look at their offensive game or just focus on their offensive game? What will be your message to them when it comes to defense, when how you can make a name for yourself on the defensive end and how important defense is to the actual game of basketball? Because it's two sides of the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the importance of defense is kind of, it can sometimes be overlooked. And if I would say to them, watch these playoffs, there's guys that are so good on offensive end that, aren't performing and they don't play defense, so they're on the bench. And you got guys that, haven't got a lick of offense, but, absolute, beast on the defensive end that are playing 35, 40 minutes. That's how important it is. And I think, everyone growing up want to be that offensive guy that can, average 30 and have the highlight reel. But the defensive end is so important, being able to, it's not even individual defense, it's team defense, being able to be there for your teammates, step in, take charges, wall up, have your teammates back. And it really does win championships. And you look at the best teams in the NBA now, like Boston, like, OKC, these guys, they can all defend. They all take pride in defending their matchup, and they do it every single night in, night out. And I think, to these guys that, are coming through the ranks, juniors and stuff like that, AAU, if I had one thing to say to them, I'd just say defense wins games. It's going to get you on the floor and it's going to get you in the league. There's too much offensive talent out there for you to go out there and try and be better than what the talent is, that you got to separate yourself somehow. And I've done that on the defensive end of the floor. And, not everyone's going to be great at defense, but I think if you have the effort and the work rate, that you can definitely, hold your own.
We have time for one more. Deshaun?
Dyson, I know that there's a lot of talk this whole year about how infectious your energy is on the defensive side of the ball and how it kind of gets other guys going on that side as well as far as your teammates. Is there a particular area on or off the floor that you put a lot of focus on that you hope also becomes a very infectious part for your teammates?
Yeah, I think it's just, every teammate has, the accountability on themselves and being able to go there, watch their own film, watch games and stuff like that. Like coaches are going to show us film of players and teams and what we want to do defensively. But if you want to be a great defender, a great, defensive team, you got to put that work in by yourself. And I'm always watching basketball games whenever I'm home. I always watch the team we're about to play their game before. So I think it's important, and I got told a lot this year that my defense was infectious, and to me that means that I'm doing my job, and I want my defense to be infectious. I want my team to play defense, and it's a lot more fun when you're getting stops, you're getting out and running and getting those highlight reels and stuff like that. And when you're getting 140 points, 130 points scored on you every night, then I know I'm not doing my job if that's the case. So I know as a team we have a long way to go on that defensive end, but I think this year we took a step in the right direction.
All right. Thank you, Dyson. And congratulations again. And appreciate you all being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it, everyone. Thank you.